Heroin abuse has dramatically increased in Missouri over the past decade. To find out why, we talked to Lieutenant Jason Grellner from the Franklin County Sheriff's Department.
I mean, again, with opium, for a lot of these individuals, it started out as a medical issue. So, although there was some euphoria with the use of the opium, a lot of them had a legitimate medical usefulness for the drug, and before they knew it, they couldn't do without it. They couldn't function without it. They didn't like how they felt without it.
St. Louis metro area has seen a spike in heroin abuse over the last decade. It has hit not only inner cities, but suburban areas.
A former heroin addict named Clay fell into a path that Grellner described.
Well, I started off, doing painkillers, not prescribed by a doctor, just a family thing. My dad did them, my step-uncle did them, and, I tried them. I did those for quite a while, and when the flow of pills ran out, I had a connection with the heroin dealer, and I tried it for the first time, and after that, it was, same story with everybody else. After I figured that out, how cheap it was, that's what I went with.
The heroin epidemic doesn't just affect users, it affects their families.
It's hell. And just to sit back and watch your child and know there's nothing you can do is the scariest thing that anybody can do as a mother or a father. And they're killing themselves every day. Every day they choose to put the needle in their veins or snort it or smoke it or however they get it. They're dying every day.
Krista Harmon organized the Stop Heroin Walk to raise awareness of the addiction her daughter was going through.
I got involved 2 years ago. This is our actual second walk. My daughter is a recovering addict, and in this town there's not a lot of people you can talk to, and I found some other parents and we got together and we decided we was going to just start raising awareness, and the walk is it.
Heroin abuse doesn't just hit large urban areas, it also hits smaller rural communities. I'm here at Jim Bottomley Park in Sullivan, Missouri, where they have found discarded heroin needles at the baseball field.
We admit him to the hospital in an acute withdrawal. We try to stabilize him. We only deal with the opiates. Once we stabilize him for 3 days, we send him out with a prescription for Suboxone, and hopefully by the time they leave, they're all stable to continue their care as an outpatient.
Some heroin addicts are prescribed Vivitrol to control opioid dependence.
We also use Vivitrol, which is a once-a-month injection, an anti-craving medication. It works very, very well for opiates in that you give it every 21 to 28 days based on naltrexone levels. And if they use on that medication, they don't feel it. It won't work.
Quitting heroin is very hard because it is so addictive. Not only are the withdrawal symptoms terrible, it is tough for recovering addicts to stay away from friends who use the drug.
So typical withdrawal symptoms is anywhere between 4 to 7 days, most typically. Those are your acute withdrawal symptoms. You might have post-acute withdrawal symptoms that could last even up to a couple of months.
It's the same way with the disease of addiction. We can't cure the disease of addiction, but we can help you put it in remission by not going to the same places, by not seeing the same people, by not doing the same things, by making sure you're going to meetings and you're working in a sober community. We can help you put that disease in remission.
For heroin, drug rehab is not always successful. Many addicts go through rehab several times.
If the person doesn't follow the treatment plan, there's a high probability they're going to relapse, and they're going to go back into the cycle again. Whenever we begin to abuse a drug, we've entered into a relationship with the drug, and the relationship is always one way. The drug has more influence over the person than the person has over the drug, and the drug always has more influence over the person than the person has over him or herself.
The uptick of prescription drugs derived from opiates has been a factor in the rise of heroin abuse.
They share in the burden of this addiction. When one classification of drugs is bringing in $63.5 billion and prescribing is up 600% in 1 decade, and there's a problem there.
The purity value of street heroin has increased in recent years.
The opium and heroin that we were seeing in the St. Louis area as early as 2009, 2010, sometimes at a street purity value upwards of 90%. Right now we see street heroin purity values around 35 to 45%. Still, that is a huge amount of raw heroin that's out there.
The nonprofit group Hero Inside has worked to help addicts and raise awareness of heroin abuse in the Metro East.
Hero Inside is a group of people that have all different ranges of experiences with the drug in itself. We have people that are recovered addicts or recovering addicts. We have moms that have lost daughters and sons, family members that have lost people or have been with people that have been through it. So it's helpful to have all that with me so I can help an addict feel comfortable when they come in and they want to reach out, or a family member that wants to reach out.
Nick Mann wrote a song called Hero Inside after watching several of his friends die from heroin overdoses. This is what led him to become active in trying to stop heroin abuse.
Fuck that heroin you're using. There's a hero that's inside of you and you don't even use it. And I ain't trying to put you down. I'm just saying everything they saying when you ain't around. You can be whatever that you want to if you buckle down, because it's never too late for you to turn your life around. So can you put the rules down?